65 Hurt.
We are your local 5-star law firm.
If you love to read, and if you love to connect with people, and if you love to share a good story that then resonates with your own life, you are very lucky to be watching this morning, because Dana Shavin joins us. You might recognize her name. She's been a longtime columnist at the Chattanooga Times Free Press. We have had a chance to have her on the show a number of times over the years.
Yeah.
And now she is an author again.
Yep.
This is your second book,
It
right?
is. Yes, it is.
This one, though, is just kind of a compilation you were sharing with me of 20 years now?
Right.
Of your columns.
Right. So I've been a columnist for the Chattanooga Times Free Press for 20 years. I started when I was 40, just turned 60, so I thought, you know, what better time than to sort of cull them all in one place and make them into a book, which is what people, you know, people would email me about different columns over the years, and they would say, why don't you collect these into a book? And so I decided to do, of course, Mark Kennedy did that a few years ago with his columns, and I think that's what put the idea in my head too.
Well, I mean, I'm thumbing through. I have so much I could share with you. We only have about 6 minutes.
Yeah.
So one thing is that the way Dana writes, you feel like you've known her and that you've been her friend for a long time. You said your husband calls you the confessor.
The confessor.
Because you don't mind being honest
Right.
about your experiences.
Yeah.
That must make you a connector, too.
Well, okay, I'll take that too. Yeah, he calls me the confessor because I'm very transparent. There's not a lot that I won't share with you. That said, it's not like I don't have a filter. I mean, I'm not one of those people. I do have a filter. But I also feel like in being transparent and in telling about things that happened to me and why it matters, people see themselves in my columns, and they see their own lives.
And because they're columns, they're short.
They're
right?
short. They're
You're
about
limited.
800 words a piece. They're very easy to read. Yeah.
So when you're thumbing through this, it's a little bit like a daily devotional almost.
Yes.
And a lot of them are going to resonate with women, but if you're a dad raising daughters, if you're just a human being, you're going to feel the connection.
Yeah, there's something in there for everybody. I mean, I take on, well, life, love, home, and dogs. It covers a lot of territory, but I mean, I take on, you know, losing pets and losing parents, and but also, you know, changing careers and renovating homes, but also things like eating disorders, anti-Semitism. I mean, there's just a lot in there. You know, everything starts with the kernel of something that I went through, and grows from there.
I spoke recently to an event for the MCR Foundation. You mentioned eating disorders, and there was a topic of conversation that came up about kids today and stress for them, and how they should feel triumphant because they all very proudly say, I lived through COVID, and to not deny the strength that has taken for them. So the conversation then just kind of turned to this kind of collective pride, I think, that we have, that we've conquered it, and that we don't want to hide behind it anymore. And being honest is the first step.
Right.
And that's what you do in your book.
That's what I do in my book. Yeah, I think when you hide behind anything at all, whether you have an addiction or you just have what you feel like is too big a secret to share with the world, you're embarrassed, you're ashamed about something. When you are hiding behind that, or you're feeling uncomfortable about sharing that, it really separates you from the rest of the world. It separates you from your fellow person, and it keeps you from being able to connect with other people. And you find that when you actually when you share stuff, people come to you in droves and say, like they have with me, they've said, oh my gosh, thank you for sharing what you shared. I feel like, you know, nobody else has been through what I've been through.
I've never written a book, but I do talk to people a lot, and I'm somewhat transparent too. And I've had conversations with people about things that you wouldn't believe have happened in my life. Truly, you wouldn't believe. And they've said, oh my gosh, something similar happened. And there's such power in that validation.
Yeah. I was speaking last week in front of some people, and at a retirement home actually, and I had made that comment about, you know, everybody is thinking the same things. Everybody's having sort of the same thoughts. And one of the people spoke up and said, do you mean that what I'm thinking, she's thinking? You know, and I said, well, okay, not exactly literally, But yes, we all want to find happiness in our relationships and comfort in the world, and we all want, a connection with our fellow person. We all want our pets to be okay.
Right.
And in that way, we're all having the same experience.
So I have less than a minute left. The book you can buy on Amazon. A good one too. Graduations are coming up. Something to tuck in.
Yes, it's a really good gift book, I think. Because it does tackle so many areas of life that we all go through.
And depending on where you are in life, you'll pick it up multiple times and find something new in it.
Yeah, and that's the neat thing. You don't have to read it cover to cover. You just kind of start, if you find a title that looks fun, start there.
Something is hidden in here, because every time I thumb through the book, guess what chapter I keep coming up with? Forgiving High School.
Oh, no.
What are you telling me, Dana?
Hey, that's a conversation for another time.
Get the book. It is called Finding the World, Thoughts on Life, Love, Home, and Dogs. And always look for her column in the Chattanooga Times Free Press.
Thank you so much. Yes, every third Sunday of the month.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you, Julie.
North Spring, Chattanooga's rejuvenation headquarters. How do you feel?
No more pain. I have never felt better.